What's good, y'all? I'm your host, Adam, and this is the Tier List, a video game podcast. It's a seasonal video game podcast where a guest brings a game for the titular tier list. We talk about it, rank it, but you, the audience, get a say in where it would place by the end of the season. This is Season 1, Episode 4. We're making our way downtown. Today, I have an amazing guest, my favorite person in the world who's from the North, Jacob McCourt. How are you doing, buddy?
Don't tell your friend Cozy that. Hee.
It's rough. Jacob, if anyone is uneducated and doesn't know who you are, tell everybody who you are, what you do, and then tell us the game you decided to bring for the tier list.
Yes, thank you for having me on the inaugural season of the tier list. I'm a big fan of this show and of you. I make content on the internet. You can find me. I'm on Crossplay Conversations and the Left Behind Game Club. Crossplay Conversations is more topical, indie focused. We do a show every other week with my co-host Luke Lewis, Claire Lewis, and Joseph Hooper. And then I do and have been doing for almost 8 years now a show called the Left Behind Game Club. It is a video game book club podcast. And we just hit 200 episodes there. So your boy's been making content for a hot second. You can find me on those shows and on social media at Jacob McCourt, JACOBMCCOURT. And the video game that I brought today, and I'd love your reaction to it, because I think you know people and you're like, I know what they're going to bring. They're going to bring this kind of game. This man's going to bring Citizen Sleeper 1. Thought about it, but instead I brought, because you asked me around Christmas time, and I have a yearly tradition of going over to I call her my grandmother's house, but truly she's like my great aunt. I walk over to her house on Christmas Eve, and me and a bunch of my cousins, second cousins, third cousins, we get in the basement, we pull out the Switch, and we play a bunch of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So that is the game that I am here to put on the tier list, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Let's go.
Absolutely love it. It was a shocker, but I was like, oh, I like the idea of doing a fighting party game. That's not a thing we've had on the tier list before. But
people are going to be like, Resident Evil 4,
Oh.
and like, what did Jerica bring again on the show? She brought Inscription. Let's some fancy games. Nah, we're going to smash, bruh.
Oh, I love to smash. Some quick plugs before we get into the show. You can follow the show on patreon.com/the tier list. There's a free tier there where you can send a vote. Again, you can vote for where you think these games belong on the tier list. Support if you can. Shout out to our Patreon producer, Manly Brian, who is our first producer. Shout out to him. Manly Brian, fun guy. I like him a lot. So thank you for the support over on Patreon. Make sure to sub and review on podcast services. Follow me on socials at Adam Gumby or Tier List Gaming. Sub on youtube.com/Adam Gumby. All the links as well as the guest info are in the description down below, as long as it's a link to a straw poll, which is just another website where you can vote for stuff. All right, Jacob, I know you talked about your yearly tradition, but is there any particular reason why you picked this game, your history with it, where were you when it launched, anything you want to talk about, and then where you're thinking about putting it on the tier list?
Yes, so I have a lot of positive memories associated with the Smash series. As much as Nintendo sometimes wants to pretend like Smash doesn't exist and does everything in their power to smash any community that decides they want to play the game. We can talk about that later if we'd like. But I've loved the series since '64. I mean, I was telling my parents this over Christmas also, that one of my fondest memories growing up was getting a GameCube and having them essentially give us Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Luigi's Mansion, and I just played so much Melee. I played Brawl, and I know that it is a game that is probably in the series the least liked, and then played Smash for Wii U and for 3DS and liked those ones. But Ultimate to me, and this is maybe an unpopular opinion in the world of Smash players, but I think it's on par with Melee. It's obviously a different game as far as the speed goes, but I think as a fighting game, it is on par, and that's probably for a bunch of reasons which we'll talk about. As far as what place on the tier ranking I was going to put this one, I'm leaning heavily towards 1, but I'm kind of like in between 2. So up until in the weeks in preparing for this thing, I've played some more Smash after playing hundreds of hours of this game over the last 10 years. 10 years? When did it come out? 18? Math. 8 years.
Yeah.
7.5, 8 years. I played hundreds of hours of this game. So I played a couple more hours just to prepare myself, get myself ready. And I was leaning heavily towards an A. I think this is an excellent game. It's well regarded. It's among people's favorites. But then part of me went and said, well, is it even the best game in the Smash series? Some might argue that. Is it really even a pure fighting game? Some would argue that. So part of me, and is it a game that still people talk about, play, want? I think so. But part of me went, I'm leaning A, but I could be pushed to a B. So I would say I'm at A- right now, is kind of where I am on the tier list. I don't think it's an S tier game. I think if there's other Nintendo masterpieces that I could talk about that deserve the spot in the S tier, but I'm leaning towards A.
All right, and again, for anyone, you can go to patreon.com/the tier list, and all of the full written out rankings for every tier ranking is written out. But A is excellence in gaming, widely regarded, could represent personal favorites or games that stood out among the best in its genre or the year or game of the year material. And then B is a great game recommended for fans of the genre or hardcore players, well-received games popular in their time, represented by a sizable fan base. So yeah, somewhere between this is one of the best games of the time that it came out, or it's a very, very good game in the time it came out. Somewhere in there is kind of, I think, what you're saying.
I also think it's probably the best platform fighter that's out there, because platform fighting is a subgenre in the fighting game genre where, in my mind, there aren't many other titles that get close. I think that something like Fraymakers is a good indie substitution. I think Rivals of Aether, Rivals 2 is pretty good. And then you get, stuff on the Dreamcast like Power Stone 2 that is also pretty good. But this is, for a genre, Smash is definitively the best in this genre. Depending on the person, it's either this one or Melee. But it also is the best in the genre. So that also makes me lean towards an A.
Yeah, PlayStation All-Star Battle Royale fans are crying in their
What's
blankets
that? I don't know what
now.
that video game is.
All right, so I'm going to talk about my thoughts about this game as well. So here's the thing. This was the main reason I bought a Switch. I didn't buy it at launch. I got it when this game came out. Through some chicanery, I was able to get Smash Brothers, a controller, and the Switch all for $350 or something like that. It was pretty good deal.
What kind of chicanery lets you get a Switch for that cheap?
Having someone who has a employee discount. So I was able to get all that, and that was my mainstay for a very long time. So for the first year of the Switch, this is basically the only game I played. This and Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 were basically the only two games that I played on that system at the beginning.
Sure, yeah.
I was very excited for that one. So yeah, again, that was a game I played a lot. I have a Discord server, shout out to Secret Levels Podcast, where basically all we did multiple nights a week was just play Smash Ultimate, that was the reason for the Discord server entirely, even though it's supposed to be for a podcast. So I have spent many an hour playing this video game. And where am I going to end up? Here's the thing, right? Because when I look at these lists, for me personally, I want the list to mean something. So when I'm looking at S tier, S tier's got to be an all time, and there can be very few small nitpicks with it to even be considered. And we'll talk about it as we go, but I think I have enough nitpicks to be I don't know if that's S, but then I'm Jacob, is it A or B? I'm oscillating between the two. It's Revolver Ocelot, okay. Metal Gear Solid, the snakes in this game. So yeah, this will be interesting. I think I honestly don't know until we probably finish this episode, and that will determine where I'm going to be. Because at the moment, I'm like you. I'm it's between maybe these two, maybe go higher. Maybe when I get reminded of things, I'm oh yeah, that was awesome. I'm oh God, that's awful. So we'll see where it ends up. But I mean, honestly, this is like you said, it is the only game in the genre that is the good one. There were others out there. I remember trying to play Brawlhalla, and it's this is fine. I wish it was Smash. Smash is just a better version of this game all around, just like all the other ones you said. So
this might be unpopular. I don't think Brawlhalla is great.
No, not really. It's
not.
My
I can name 5 platform fighters that I played before Brawlhalla.
Yeah, and my son likes it because it's free. But anyways, I have a short overview of some Smash Brothers stuff, and there's a lot of interesting things, but this is just basically skimming Wikipedia. What do you get? Super Smash Brothers Ultimate is a 2018 crossover fighting game developed by Bandai Namco and Sora, published by Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch. Ultimate features 89 playable fighters. I believe that's all the DLC included is 89.
Wild.
Which is a crazy number. Planning for the game began by December 2015, with full development starting after the completion of 3DS and Wii U's DLC. Sakurai's goal with Ultimate was to include every character from previous games in this series, despite the various development and licensing challenges this would present, which tells me the next one will not have 89 fighters, if I had to guess. And I just have the Wikipedia there for in case you needed it. But we're going to move on to our main section of the show. This is where we're going to do the book club stuff. We're going to talk about whatever you want to talk about, art, story, gameplay. This is the meat of it. So anything you want to talk about, you could talk about. If you'd like to start, you can. If not, I can start. What do you want to do, Jacob?
Why don't we just start and talk about the characters that we play? So you mentioned 89 different characters, some from core Nintendo series. The cool part about each successive game in the series is that I felt like they went and they made more partnerships with publishers to get their characters and IP in the game. So we now have 89 characters. I'd love to know who your favorites are. I can start by maybe saying who my favorites are. I am constantly surprised in myself that I end up going for characters that have like a heavier attack to them, that take a little longer, that are a little bit slower, but that's my style. So your boy loves DDD, your boy loves King K. Rool, your boy loves Roy. I know Roy's fast, but Roy, Ike, and there's a couple other players, but and Robin. So I'd say those are kind of the 5 characters that I tend to go to first. And then when the DLC came out, I ended up grabbing it, and like Banjo-Kazooie is probably the next character that I spend. And I know that some of these characters are shit, but it's just a particular way that they play that jives with me, even if their attacks aren't great. So if I'm building a squad strike, which we'll talk about later, it's probably among those 6 characters. Who are your faves?
So the thing that I do, and I do this for a lot of games, not just this one, I love hitting random. Anytime I would play online with those
You're
people,
one of these.
Yeah, they're like, "Who's your main?" My main is that question mark button. Let me tell you, because I like being able to learn, because I'm not taking it super serious. Like, it's the thing with any fighting game where the people I played with, I was top of the line against the people I played with. And again, I know the minute I go to a tournament, I'm getting stomped because I'm not playing against actual real players.
I played online today for the first time in a while, and I got stomped every single time.
It is rough out there. So I enjoyed just playing random just to learn all the characters. Again, there were so many of them. I was having a good time. I will say unlike you, I do like the heavies. I do like a Bowser. I love a DDD. I love those kind of those heavy, big, hard-hitting characters. And people online, they feel a certain way and they complain and they say there's too much, but your boy loves a sword fighter. Give me all the Fire Emblem characters. I do not care that they're just basically the same people, because I love Shulk to death, because give me a counter. Give me a down B and you're coming at me and I end your life. Yeah. I love countering. So all the sword characters, well, not they don't all have counters, but any sword character with a counter, I love. And then I really like the big guys. But again, I played with, so many, but everybody, I try to get good with them. But personally, I like a big guy and I like a counter. I'm really feeling it.
Did you get all the DLC when it came out, or is it something that because for me, I probably played it for the first year that I had it, and then sort of dropped off, because I know that the DLC came out for a while, up until we got Sora. I will never forget, shout out friend of the show, Cam Hawkins, when he found out that Sora was going to be in Smash. It's an incredible clip that if you can find it online, then you should. But DLC came out for a while for this, so I had long sort of stopped playing Smash in the regular rotation, and then DLC kept coming out. So I think I grabbed the last DLC pack much, much later. I want to say in the last couple years, just because Smash is something I probably pick up 2 or 3 times a year and have for the past 8 years. And I was like, I'm not paying, because these DLC characters, the dollars add up.
So by the time we had played so much Smash that I actually burned down on it by the summer, because it came out in December, and I'm not exaggerating, we played hundreds of hours. So by the time the DLC came out, I was done with Smash Ultimate at that point. So the only one that I have is Piranha Plant, because I think It was just like
if you it came with it when you bought it right away.
It's like if you buy it in the first 2 months, you get Piranha Plant. But as far as like Joker and Banjo-Kazooie and, you know, Steve with his meat, I have not played with any of the DLC characters ever. So I couldn't tell you. But I like the way they look.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I was done with it.
Sakurai got in his bag with some of the later ones. I think of characters like Dragon Quest Hero. They have a move where they can essentially pull up a menu, and there's a certain amount of RNG that goes into their attacks, which is wild. I mean, Steve has building. It's Fatal Fury. Terry from Fatal Fury got in there. He was really, really in his bag. And some of those fighting game characters even have mechanics where, depending on their direction, that impacts the way you can input moves, which is insane. I've seen my cousin is some sort of phenom, and he likes to play these characters in the fighting games. There's both Terry and then I forget who the second set from Street Fighter, Ken and Ryu. They have that mechanic where you, depending on how you point, you can do inputs, and if you do the long input, you get a stronger attack. And he's incredibly good, and I'm always envious of how he can do that. Yeah. But Sakurai got in his bag here.
Definitely.
Oh, and they also had Kazuya from Tekken too. So
yeah. Someone who who did not like Street Fighter, playing against people who actually played Street Fighter. It's like, oh yeah, you actually are good with Ken because you just know how to do Street Fighter. You're just using Street Fighter moves on me. Of all again, I didn't play the DLC ones. Of all the ones that I would have liked, obviously Byleth because of a Fire Emblem character, so we have to do that. And Sephiroth also looks interesting because that's a big sword, and I do like swords. So the Sora one is crazy though.
Very similar to but Byleth and Sephiroth, they have huge weapons, but they're also so different because Byleth is I think more heavy than Sephiroth, who is quicker. And uses energy attacks more than Byleth. It's always cool to see how different each of these characters, even within a series. Yes, all the Fire Emblem characters are sort of the same. There's like, not all of them, but there's 4 or 5 of them that are basically the same permutation of Marth. But it is cool to see within series how there's some differences.
Yeah, I'm looking at the full list like you. Again, the Joker reveal was amazing at Game Awards. Being like, hey, and then again, also the Sora, also the Sephiroth one is because Sephiroth.
That's when the envelope came down on the screen and everyone lost their mind.
And you're invited. Yeah, Sephiroth stabbing Mario on the Game Awards was also cool. The Sora one. The one that confuses me, Min Min, the character from ARMS.
Yep.
Do we have to do that one? Or
Nintendo, stop trying to make Min Min happen.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen.
We are not interested.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's again, I'm a random player, so I do all that crazy stuff. I don't know what to tell you.
Who's your least favorite character in Smash Ultimate?
Oh, least favorite. What's yours? I'm gonna go look through the list real quick.
I mean, Ice Climbers is pretty bad.
Yeah, Ice Climbers kind of.
Because I think Ice Climbers essentially left because they couldn't, and keep me honest here, I think they couldn't figure out a way to get Ice Climbers to work on the 3DS for the Wii U 3DS game, and so they got removed, so they were in Melee and Brawl, not in the 4th title, but then came back for Ultimate because they only had to worry about one SKU. But I could just never, like, between their attacks being in different directions, their little icicle, Ice Blast, hated it. I'd probably say Ice Climbers is my least favorite.
Ice Climbers is definitely a tough one, especially like when one dies and the one's there. It's like, well, you might as well just jump off and just forget about it. I'm gonna say probably me, either Olimar or Villager. Yeah,
Olimar is not fun to play.
Just throwing Pikmin.
I'm a huge Pikmin fan, but I have a Pikmin right here for the video viewer on my microphone. But yeah, Olimar is not a fun. There's a lot of characters that just kind of rely on something specific, whether it is something like Pikmin requiring his Pikmin. Villager, some of his attacks are just weird. I mean, jumping on a gyroid and taking it for a ride is strange. Essentially planting a tree to cut it down and then having that do a lot of damage. There's a lot of setup there that I'm just not about. But I'd put those just slightly above Ice Climbers, who are bad.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Really quick, favorite aesthetic or like favorite costume. I'm gonna guess it's Bayonetta for you. One of her alternates is.
What are you trying to say there, Adam?
I guess I'm asking, not telling.
I don't know, but I always loved myself, and this is probably because of the old school. I love like a pink or a fuchsia aesthetic, because you can switch for those who've never played Smash before. Obviously, you need different color schemes because people can have the same fighters. In this one, you can have up to 8 people playing at the same time, which is rad. And so you could have 8 of the same characters, so you need at least 8 palettes. I love myself like a pink or like a fuchsia. So the classic pink and white Captain Falcon is entirely my shit. Like that is my favorite costume, and that is purely nostalgia bait.
Yeah, it's fair. Mine would be, I have 2 of them. It'd either be Dark Samus, just because, as people heard on last episode, my first time ever playing Metroid Fusion, so I got to meet. I don't know if that's Dark. It's an alternate Samus. I guess it's not Dark Samus. I like a black suit Samus. That is cool. And then the actual number 1 is Shirtless Shulk, just because Shulk's in swimsuit, and he says, "I'm really feeling
Fair
it,"
enough.
and it's very funny.
Yeah, I was gonna say, doesn't Shulk have a lot of annoying shouts in this game?
You mean the best shouts?
You mean the most annoying shouts? Yeah, exactly. I do.
Yeah, I love Shulk. Again, a guy with a big sword who can counter. So yeah, characters are good. Also, just like shout out, obviously, it's cool bringing all these people back and having crossovers from all over the place, but getting like Sonic and getting Pac-Man and getting all of the other like contemporary when there was a real console war going on, and just getting all of those characters in here as well, pretty cool.
I just want to be a fly on the wall for those meetings where, Sakurai and his team are probably meeting with whomever the IP holder is, and they're walking through how the character probably has to be on par strength-wise compared to everybody else just to make the IP holders happy. And I just want to be a fly on the wall as they talk about the moves, like how deep they're going to go in their bag to get moves, even some of the weird stuff, because we know Sora, who's the last DLC character, was not permitted to use Disney IP at all in sort of, apart from the charm and the logo, there's no Disney IP associated with Sora at all, so you have to kind of change his moveset. So I'd love to just understand how long it takes. I'm assuming 6 months plus to get a DLC character in, but to be a fly on the wall, man, that's a dream of mine. Maybe I should dream higher, but I'd love to be there.
I'm with you. I'm the one who watches documentaries on any and everything, so let me tell you, I would be all about how did you guys get Sora into the game, working with all those different people. I have, I'm looking at this character list, and, we can kind of move on to a thing that I want to talk about. And this one, I don't want to be too negative, but this might bring it down a little bit, because I'm here looking at Kirby.
Okay.
And we all know Sakurai thinks Kirby is the greatest thing of all time. And, shout out, that's your baby boy, and that's cool. That's awesome.
He's his daddy, so he's got to support his son, right?
I appreciate it. But then looking at Kirby reminds me of this game's single-player mode, World of Light.
Yeah.
And I guess I want to know your thoughts on it before I say anything else.
Let me give you the overview on it. So I'll give you a little, and then I want to hear your take. I played the entire World of Light when the game came out, which would have been 40 hours, which in hindsight, I was actually shocked to see the play clock be that high. So I just played Kirby Air Riders, played through the single player, which would have been, weirdly enough, I think the next game Sakurai would have made after Smash Ultimate. The single player campaign in that one is laughable. And so to compare it to this World of Light that is definitely a thing. It's basically a series of 500 battles on a map that you just do with certain conditions. We'll explain spirits. It's unnecessarily long. I think that's only fan service. Final boss, cool, but worth 40 hours of playtime. Feeding spirits to one another and to make better spirits to be able to get further in the game. You don't come to this for World of Light. I wish it would have been less time. I appreciate it, and I thank Sakurai for his sacrifices to make World of Light possible.
Oh, that's
What are your thoughts, Adam?
Here's the thing. It doesn't upset me.
I'm trying to be nice to Sakurai.
No, he's great.
He is so sleep deprived.
Yeah.
The man needs a win, so you can have this one. World of Light is fine.
Yeah. The thing I like about World of Light is the sort of collection aspect where they're like, okay, we're not doing the trophies anymore because you used to collect little toys or whatever.
Yep.
And then they're like, okay, with the spirit system, which is the same thing. You're basically collecting these characters that they'll have, stats and abilities.
But way
and
more
modifiers.
intricate.
Yeah, a lot more than that. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. You're giving me spirits to collect. Cool idea. again, more intricate than trophies. World of Light itself, I'm with you. It's so much. And I think you said 40 hours. I think I got about 2 or 3 hours into it. And I was like, actually, why am I doing this? I need to stop because it is like, okay, I'm going around this board, kind of feels like a board game or whatever, right? Like you're going around the world picking just like, here's a fight with the modifier. Here's this fight with this modifier. And I'm like, you're just giving me reasons to play this game, but like in maybe ways I don't actually enjoy playing, where it's like, oh, everyone's heavy in this one and you take 800% more damage. Have fun using Jigglypuff. And I'm like, how about not? How about not, though? And again, for it to be so long and for the outcome to be not much, I'm just like, that is a mode I completely ignored. But when I'm looking at this game as a whole and like looking about on the tier list, again, if you can ignore it, cool. But it is a major component of the game that I think is bad. It's just all around not very good. Then I think back to Subspace Emissary, which was in Brawl, which everyone's like, oh, it was so cool. No, the cutscenes were cool.
Subspace Emissary was pretty cool.
The cutscenes are awesome. Playing Subspace Emissary is also not that enjoyable. I think more enjoyable than this.
Which one's worse, though?
This one's worse.
Yeah, this one's worse. I was like, let's just get aligned here. Subspace Emissary is better than this.
Yes, because at least there's fun cutscenes and you're just 2D platforming all over the place. But this one is like, I'm going to make you play a bunch of stuff you don't want to play to collect this little token guy to go fight. It is not enjoyable. And again, you can ignore it. But for there to be, only, a handful of things to do, quote unquote, in the game. And one of the major things in the game is dog water. I just want to point it out. I don't hate it. It doesn't upset me because I ignored it, but it is not good. And it is an offering in the game. So I got to point it out.
Yeah, and look, there is some cool fan servicey stuff that you get by playing through the World of Light. Because my understanding on this one is that you start with a limited set of characters, and then as you go, you collect different characters to when when you're finished, you have the entire roster that you can play from. The entire roster plus DLC, not DLC, just the non-DLC characters that you can collect in the single player. But there's some cool fancy servicey stuff. But yeah, I did the math, or at least found someone online who did the math. And if there's 500 plus battles in this thing, out of that, 100 of them are stamina battles. Stamina battles are the worst thing about Smash Brothers. A stamina battle should die and never come back.
I hope
so. Great fan service. I do genuinely kind of like the spirit system though. So the way spirits will work is that you, if there's 39 characters, there are over 1,000 different spirits that you can collect. Sometimes from series even that aren't their characters not in the game, but there are spirits for other games from the world of Nintendo that you can collect. Think of them like stickers. They're like stickers. So you will essentially collect them, and then in the single player, they will all have levels, they will all have affinities, and you essentially can make rarer and like higher value spirits that have better properties to them by feeding them and then combining their souls to create a new spirit. So on its face, from what I remember, I'm like, I kind of remember this being bad. The spirit system, after playing with it for a little while, I'm like, for 40 hours, this will get repetitive and not fun, but it's novel, especially for a Smash game.
Yeah, I feel like, I might be wrong, that this has been a while. I feel like that's how Hollow Knight is in the game. Or not Hollow Knight, excuse me, Shovel Knight. Is there Shovel Knight spirit? That's like the way that Shovel Knight's in the game. And there are a couple spirits, like you said, that are like not playable.
Shovel Knight has actually 5 spirits. So you can get Shovel Knight, Shield Knight, Plague Knight, King Knight, and Spectre Knight.
Yeah, so there are characters that are not playable but are spirits in the game, so they're still in the game. So that is cool. But yeah, again, I like the idea of collecting things and powering them up. It's just making me play 500 matches to do that slowly over hours is not good. Here's another thing, though. I think this was a much bigger deal on Smash Brothers 4 Wii U. By the way, I love that Smash Brothers 4 was just for the system. I think that's amazing naming.
A terrible name. The most Nintendo name they could have ever thought of. Smash 4 3DS and Smash 4 Wii U, sure.
I love it. Amiibos. I remember in the Wii U version, the Amiibos and leveling them up and finding a level 10 Amiibo was an insane thing. Did you... Here's the thing. Amiibos work with Switch. I don't think I ever used Amiibos on Switch. Did you use it in this game at all? I don't know. Do they work exactly the same? Is it even worth talking about, or is it just It's amiibos again.
Yes. So, part of our conversations, obviously, about the series as a whole, I bought a Fox amiibo, and that's what I ended up using for Smash for Wii U. And truly, to your point, such a novel, cool thing where you could essentially train your amiibo and have it fight a specific way, where it learns to fight a specific way, and then you can have that amiibo come in and fight against you. Super cool. I don't know how many amiibos you own. I'm not one of them crazy amiibo folks. I own 2 amiibos. I own the Fox amiibo, and I just bought the 2-tier Kirby Air Riders amiibo that was way too much money. It was like $40 US.
Yeah, that one.
And yes, you can separate them, so it's essentially 2 amiibos, I guess, but it was way too much money. That's the only amiibo stuff I've done, but I'm assuming that the amiibo stuff in this game is similar to the amiibo stuff in Ultimate.
Yeah,
in Smash for Wii U.
4. Yeah, I do just like that they were like, hey, amiibos still exist. And for every character, including the DLC, we are making an amiibo. So I think that's cool. Again, it took us 7 years to get them all out, but that is cool that every single character has their own amiibo. So people were like, I'm buying my Sora amiibo. I'm buying my Dark Samus amiibo. That was cool. Again, I was done with amiibos at this point, but shout out to them. I don't care about using them in the game, but if you want a cool little toy, they have a bunch of characters. So that is a neat little thing.
I just quickly looked it up. It works the same way.
Yeah, so.
And beyond that, even you can use characters that are not part of the series. And if they're a spirit, you can get the spirit. So the example they use is Tom Nook. Tom Nook is not a playable character, but is a spirit. So if you tap it, you can get the Tom Nook spirit.
Okay, very cool. Very cool.
They got wild with the spirits, man. They had like Warframe got a spirit. I think Warframe might have been the last one that they did. Is they got Lotus from Warframe, which to me is just insane. They got Lotus and Nata from Warframe, and those might be one of the last ones that were done. I'm gonna double check this while you move us ahead.
Yeah,
but that was one of the last ones.
No problem. Yeah, a little bit. I think we're gonna move on to other stuff in a second, but really quickly talking about characters and spirits and all and amiibos and stuff. I do like how everyone online had their idea. Excuse me. For like what characters we want, and again, like Sora was one people kept saying, all that stuff. I don't like using the Mii characters, but there are Mii Fighter, Brawler, and then Gunner. So there are these characters that you can create and you can mess with. The only cool thing about them is that they would sell costumes for characters that they were not going to get in the game or weren't going to be spirits. So there is a Cuphead Mii Fighter who just looks like Cuphead. I think that's how Gino got into the game, was being a Mii Fighter. So again, it's not
there
like...
was an Undertale one as well.
I think Sans was in
for
it.
Sans.
Yeah. So again, not necessarily... I hate using those fights. When I hit random and I got a Mii Gunner, I was like, ugh, I'm just going to throw myself off the level. But I do like that they're like, okay, we're not going to put, Undertale in the game proper, but like, give us $2 and you'll have fun with this guy. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
There was even some cool within the spirits, not to go back to spirits. I think people are just going to be like, this man really liked his spirits. But there are whole menus where you can just collect. So I went into the Final Fantasy menu for spirits, and that's where you can fight different characters to get everyone from Final Fantasy VII. And so I went in there, and I want to say it was somewhere between 10 to 12 different spirits from Final Fantasy VII. The music was playing. I was fighting against a character inspired by Tifa, because that's the thing they normally do, is that a spirit embodies something. Like sometimes it'll have a property that'll embody the character and what they're all about. And so I fought a Mii Fighter that really was very fast, like Tifa would be, and I was like, this is cool.
Yeah, very neat.
A lot of thought went into this game, and I appreciate people who just go so far in their bag and pull out things and references and little character things that you would never think about. Where I'm sure they had a research team where they spent years going through and saying, what is the most obscure boss or move we could pull out for this character? Let's do that.
Yeah, let's just do the weirdest stuff. Like another mode is like the classic mode, which is, arcade mode in a lot of fighting games, where you take a character. In this game, it's okay. So the game starts out, you only get the 8 original characters from N64, and then you are slowly unlocking every other character in the game. There was like, by the way, shout out to Jacob if you're watching the video. He has a Japanese version of the Smash for N64. and a way to, I think it was every 10 minutes you played, you would get a new challenger and you beat him and you unlock the character, which again, when you have 89 total characters, that is a lot when you start from 8. And I definitely took a lot of time just like playing a 10-minute match, fighting the dude, play a 10-minute match, fight the dude. I definitely did that. But there is the classic mode where every character has like their own, like, arcade mode, group of fights that leads up, and then you end it and you get like, oh, congratulations, you beat the thing. But they all didn't end with just like, oh, you fight Master Hand or whatever, which is in the original game, it's like, okay, you do the thing, you fight Master Hand. No, this one, it'll be like, if you play as Mario, you're going to fight Wario, and it's like Mario specific fights, and then it'll end with, I don't actually remember the Mario one, but it would end with like a big Donkey Kong compared to Master Hand. Like they would do cool individual things, and then you go from your 8 and you build it out into your minus DLCs, like 60 something or 70 something characters. So I like that. Just like, let me do this specialized little story mode thing. And then just like, again, that first 4 days with this game was just like, how I got to unlock all these characters. I'm just spending all the time I possibly can to just fight these dudes.
The bosses were very cool. I think that there were some bosses that appeared in, I think they all appeared in the World of Light, but to be able to fight someone like a Dracula, at one point you just fight Dracula from Castlevania. You'll fight at some points, you'll fight one of the monsters from Monster Hunter Ultimate also, which is cool.
Rathalos,
so
I
just appreciated how,
yeah.
Giga Bowser you could fight. So I appreciated the cool, and they're huge, they're enormous, and Mark from Kirby, you name it, I think there's about 10 of them, and they're all super fun to play.
Yeah, that was definitely a fun mode, because I'm just like, hey, let's go through the modes and talk about this stuff. So I do like this game, instead of talking about the stages again, they brought back all the stages from every game ever. They added some new stages as well. They now implemented the thing where 8-player fights were on every single map. Because before, on the Wii U version, it was like, well, these certain maps let you do 8-player multiplayer, and the other ones were 4. This one is just like, click and add up to 8 people in every map, and it works. So that helps a lot for, as a party game again.
There are so many stages.
And a lot of stages. I remember just bringing back those, like, just seeing things like if you had skipped a generation, or you just haven't played a game in 15 years, because that's normal to not play a game from 15 years ago, and be like, oh yeah, this was a good one. That was always fun. Like, I always loved the one with on Samus's, it's like got the lava, like acid pit underneath it.
Planet X, Planet Zebus,
Planet Metroid, whatever it's called. Yeah, that was always a fun one for me. And then the big ship for Star Fox, and it's like, oh yeah, here's the N64 ones, we're having fun. And then it's like, oh, I forgot about this one from Brawl. This one was also neat. So again,
it is Zebus, is that one?
Zebus. Okay, very cool. But I do like just like, how many people do we have? No, we're not limited. 8 people on Final Destination, or 8 people on Battlefield, whatever you want to do. Have a good fun with that.
And keep me honest here. In this one, I think you can, for every single map, which we'll maybe share the number, it's got to be 50 or 60 different maps here. But my understanding is that you can do a Battlefield version of the maps, or a Final Destination of any map. So in addition to the regular version, there's the Battlefield version, which is a platform and then 3 smaller platforms. There's the Final Destination that is just one long platform. And then there's the 8-player larger version. So just the amount of permutations to maps, crazy.
Yeah, there are 115 stages, 103 which are in the base game. And
Pardon?
115, including DLC. But yeah, Omega forms and Battlefield forms were for each map. So,
man.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this game. Let me tell you, Jacob, they don't mess around.
Can you talk about your favorite stages? Because I definitely have a couple.
Oh, I'm actually looking at a list, which actually helps me. So I like the Pokemon Stadium ones, just because the music. I mean, this game is great with music and presentation and all that stuff. So that helps having that Pokemon anime music. So Pokemon Stadiums are good. I really like Dracula's Castle from Castlevania, even though I'm not a huge Castlevania guy. I think it's just like a cool level because Dracula's neat. And then Dracula, he's a cool guy,
Dracula's neat.
And I do like there are was it Corneria and Venom? I'm looking at the list right now. Just the Star Fox ones where you're just on top of a big ship as it's like going through the sky. Those were always favorites of mine.
Corneria is very much a favorite of mine, always has been. And then I think if I had to pick others, I like the classic Hyrule Castle. The classic Hyrule Castle is fab from the N64 game. In preparation for this, I played some of the N64 game as well, having just bought an analog 3D and a Japanese cart for Smash. I just decided I'll put 90 minutes into this too, just so I can talk about it. You forget how much faster Smash has gotten, but also how they've essentially kept the entire history of the franchise and moved it forward into each subsequent game. So the classics are what I love to see. So I mentioned Hyrule Castle, I mentioned Corneria. I really like Fountain of Dreams from Kirby as well, just because of that reflective, watery floor that you get. But I mean, nothing beats Final Destination. That's when you're just wanting to have a fight, a one-on-one. It's Final Death time, baby.
You know, it's really funny. I was looking over the list right now, and this is a joke very specific for me and Jacob and anybody who goes to PAX East. There is a PictoChat level, and I did not remember this being in the game, but that's Jacob was hosting a panel at PAX once. Best 3DS games, was it? No, wait.
Best DS.
Yeah, because PictoChat. Yeah. And then everyone in the room was chanting PictoChat. Don't remember how that happened or what happened, but I do remember that happening. So it's funny that there's a PictoChat level in this game when PictoChat means so much to you personally.
Yeah, look, I like to make people chant the dumbest shit when I have the opportunity to have a microphone at PAX. And so I'm thankful to the team at PAX for giving me that opportunity to have a crowd yell PictoChat.
Wild, good stuff. So I have one more thing that I want to talk about, and if you do, and it's more positive, we should do yours last.
Okay, I have one that's positive. So why don't you go, because you have some shit.
It's not necessarily a negative, but it is a criticism that I have. Is that
okay? All right.
So again, this game came out. There's no excuse for it. This game came out in 2018, and for Nintendo, that was the Wild West of the internet. They just found out it was a thing, and they didn't really know how to make it work. So like I said earlier, I was playing a ton of this game online, and honestly, when you go back and you look at the matchmaking system or like the parties, online for this game is very bad. In a way that makes no sense in 2018. So what we would do is, I forgot what the exact name of it, but you would like set up a room that people would...
A battle arena,
and then people would sit on the bleachers, and the people could play were in the actual fight, and everyone else had to just sit around.
You know what's funny? I was going to talk about online play as my last thing.
Hey, you might have had a better experience than I did. And again, remember, this was very early on. This was at the very beginning of it, playing it. But I just remember... And again, it's more of a Nintendo thing than anything, but it's just like, yeah, there's no real party chat. We had to be on Discord. Why are we not able to, like, watch these people, like, watch the matches, and then, like, we jump in when they die next? It's just weird, like, you sit in a fake bleachers, and then, like, little guy sit in a ring, and you don't see anything. And then I think it was all peer-to-peer, so if someone's internet was crap, like, you would just get a ton of lag. And again, it's the thing where, like, yes, I know Nintendo is not on the forefront of doing internet stuff, and I don't want to give them crap for it, but then on the other hand, it was also 2018, and Xbox Live had been a thing for 10, 15 years at that point. PlayStation had a free version of PlayStation Plus and a paid version of it, and had figured that out in that time. And again, PCs have existed for 30 plus years at this point. And I just don't understand.
What's a PC? I don't know. I don't know what that is. A PC?
A personal computer. Macintosh.
Oh, personal computer. Yes, of course. Yes.
What do you even call that? Again, I know that, it's a toy. People will make excuses sometimes. Like, well, they're more of a toy company and this and that. I'm like, at the end of the day, I spent hundreds of dollars for a video game console, and it says you can play online with your friends, and it is a bad experience. Again, I love playing with people. Everything around it, not very good. Now, again, this was the first 6 months. Maybe it's cleaner now. Maybe it's not as choppy. Maybe you still don't have to watch PNGs sit in a fake ring while you wait your turn. I don't know.
Nope, you still do.
Yeah. But we played so much of it. This is not talking down. We played a ton of it, but it was not good.
Yeah, I went and I mentioned this earlier that I played, a couple of hours total, like maybe an hour a couple days ago and then an hour today of the online mode. And there is quick battles, and there is these arena battles where, like you said, you sit and there's a ring and you can line up to get in next, where if you're playing 4 people, the last 2 either go to the back of the line or they go to the bleachers. It's very clunky because you have to essentially load into a separate menu to select your character, and at that point you then remove yourself from the line, or you have to load in and load out, and if you're not there when they decide to start the game, then you're kind of cookhead in a way. It's got rough edges to it, and being peer to peer, like you said, it's there is lag and there is input delay, but I think for Nintendo, because Nintendo notoriously not great with online play across the board. I mean, name a Nintendo game that you're like, man, what a fantastic, seamless online experience. I can't name one. That's not their thing. They prefer that their fans not exist on the internet at all. Download our app and get the Nintendo Today app where you can directly get all the news to you. Look, they prefer not to do online, but they have to, and every time it's bad. And this is okay compared to some of their other things. Remember back on the 3DS days, or what was it, where you had to like download a separate app on your phone for the 3DS, I believe, and you needed this weird dongle if you wanted to be able to talk on a headset. You needed to connect it to your phone and connect it to the system. It was silly. I don't know what system that was for, but like it's been worse with Nintendo. So this being a 6 out of 10 experience, that's a W, my friend.
That's a big W. By the way, the app where you have to do voice chat was a Switch feature.
Oh no!
You can Google that right now, but I'm pretty sure that you have to download our app because we don't have in-game voice chat. Was the Switch? But
oh, yep, it totally was. It totally was.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
because no one had figured out.
Wow.
Again, as we sit on Discord and Xbox Live and PlayStation voice chats, there's no way to figure it out. Again, that's not their
or
thing.
you could on the Wii, you could get a Wii Speak if you remember that one.
No, I don't remember the Wii Speak.
Or is that for the Wii? I don't remember. Wii Speak. It's for the original Wii, not the Wii U.
Oh
so,
wow, that's crazy.
Pardon me, but
yeah, again, it was fun to be able to do it. I wish it worked better, but I guess them's the breaks. So I normally don't go through this, but I was looking at this deep Wikipedia page on Super Smash Brothers. There's just one thing to me that was really interesting. Again, there's a lot of cool tidbits in here about Echo Fighters and all this cool stuff. Where is it at? I lost it. I don't know where it is. I can't find it. I can't see it on here, but apparently what I saw was that this was the 100th credited performance from Charles Martinet for Mario. That Ultimate was his 100th, like, you are in the credits for doing that, and I believe they gave him the Guinness World Record for being in this game. It's not on this page. I think it must have been on a different wiki I was looking at, but apparently Charles Martinet's 100th performance credited as Mario was in Smash Brothers Ultimate. So shout out to that man who does not work there anymore, but congratulations. Big 100.
Wahoo indeed.
Yeah, shout out to him. Is there anything else that you want to talk about before we start wrapping it up, going downtown?
I think I'd just like to say that the legacy of this game, it obviously is not the #1 selling game on the Switch. I believe that title belongs to Animal Crossing, the New Town, what's the New Horizons.
Horizons, yeah.
Is the #1 selling game on Switch. However, this game did sell 36 million copies. So I think the thing that I'd love to talk to you about before we give our rating is, do you think there will ever be a Smash Brothers again? Nintendo, we've not talked about this, actively has tried to destroy the esports scene on this for a long time. They would prefer that because they had never intended this to be a multiplayer competitive game. They always thought of this as a party game. And so I think they've always had an adversarial relationship to anyone who wants to create Smash tournaments. I think if we go back in the day, there was a time where they were going to like give TOs the ability to use Smash, and then they decided to go against it, and then they were actively adversarial to these folks who decided to make tournaments. Respectfully, most of the folks that play Smash are garbage, like people. There's a lot of problems in that community with people who play it, but for a publisher to be that adversarial to the players of their game who are trying to keep the game in the zeitgeist, I think really sucks. So all that to say, I'll go back to my question. I don't think they will ever make a Smash again. I think this is the last Smash Brothers game that we will ever get. I think the next Smash, or rather ensemble Nintendo fighting game, will be called something else and will be slightly different.
Interesting. That would be. It's the whole thing is like, where's that man that they keep in the basement? How's his head feeling? But he just released a game, a couple months ago. So he's still there technically. Here's the thing: what I think they'll do. I think they will do an updated version of Smash Ultimate for Switch 2. So I do think that will keep it going and keep the lifeblood going.
Okay.
Do I think they'll do another one? Again, when you look at the popularity and the sales, again, yes, I know you're right. They definitely don't want people to like this game.
They're suffering from success.
Yes.
That's what's happening here.
They definitely don't want people to play it in an organized manner. But I think at a certain point when you look at sales and stuff, it's like, man, you look at sales, you just got to do it. But like, does Nintendo care? Nintendo, I think, does enough sales and stuff that they just do whatever they want. So I see Smash Ultimate being re-released. I see a new Smash game. Again, I don't think it'll be Sakurai. I think it'll be so far away from now. I don't think that they'll never do it again. I think it will be maybe the next console cycle, maybe at the end of the next one, and Sakurai won't be involved, and they'll be going back to like, there's 30 people now. Like, it's like the release of Smash Ultimate to the next Smash. I think I would not be shocked if it's like a 15-year gap between that at all. Because at that point, it's like, well, Sakurai's not here, so it's not, it's all new rules. We don't care about your competitive stuff.
Nintendo has put a lot of trust in Bandai Namco over the years. Not a lot of trust, but they've put trust in Bandai Namco. They've done the Mario Sports games sometimes. They do the arcade version of Mario Kart. They have put out new Pokemon Snap in partnership with the Pokemon Company. So I think that, if anything, if Sora decides, if Sakurai as the man decides, I think I'm done with Super Smash Brothers, guys. I'm just going to make my weird little video games for 10 more years until I retire. They could potentially make another fighting game with Bandai Namco. Just at that point, is it called Smash? I think you've made a great point that they will probably re-release or release some sort of upgrade or maybe another DLC character pack. But again, then you have to get Sakurai doing this again. And he released that series on YouTube. Did you watch his series that he put together?
His fake retirement, where he was actually making the game the whole time? Yeah, I watched some of those things. Yeah. Huh? Did he talk about it in there?
No. I think he had said he was working on something, but I think now we know Masahiro Sakurai is on creating games. There is a total of 31 videos where he's talked about his career and what he's done and blah, blah, blah. I just think he's got maybe one. It's sad to see all of our favorite game makers decide that they are closer to the end of their careers than the beginning. And, somebody recently said, Hideo Kojima's not got that many games left in him when you think about how old he is. And I think we're in the same place with Sakurai, where he might just say, I don't want to go through that again. Because it seems like the worst thankless job is to make Smash, because Nintendo hates it. The fans hate it. He hates it. I mean, I'm sure he loves it, but it really takes a toll. So, look, if Smash never came back, I'd be okay with that.
I mean, Ultimate would be a great place to end it. So it would not be crazy. We'd have something cool as long as they keep re-releasing it, so you can keep playing it in a legal manner. Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right.
In a legal manner, always legal.
Oh,
never
yeah.
not.
Me, I always play my games legally. Anyways.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about Slippy here or not? Probably not, right?
Slippy, that nasty frog? Or are you talking about something else?
Well, also Project Slippy.
Oh, I don't know anything about that. Tell me.
Project Slippy is just an emulated version of Melee that adds online play, rollback netcode, etc., etc. And so I think the person who made Slippy, his name is Fizzy, but a lot of the time, kind of like how there was a version of Brawl where they essentially took Brawl and brought it closer to Melee, there is also Project Slippy, which is just an online way to play Melee, because that one is tougher to play with every passing year. Who's got a component CRT TV anymore?
Not me. Shout out to making Project Slippy. Yeah, listen, I mean, there's definitely legal stuff in there. I feel like when it is not possible to do it, and I cannot go to a store and then partake in your product, I don't care anymore. At that point, I'm like, hey, kids, get out there on the high seas, do whatever you got to do. Because if I can't walk into a store and do it, I personally don't. It is what it is.
Yep.
Live with it.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to move on to our closing. We had a good chat, Jacob. I was not expecting to go that long on a fighting game, but here we go, having a good time.
I can yap, baby. So can you. Let's get it.
All day, every day. All right. So I'm going to now read some listener thoughts. Remember, you guys can go to patreon.com/thetierlist or at Adam Gumby or Tier List Gaming on social media, and you can write in with your thoughts on the games. I've got a couple write-ins here. It's just from Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon, over on Patreon. To me, this is the ultimate, pun intended, A-tier game. Best in class. Very good. Best in class for the genre and just a solid one of those kind of games. Thank you, Matt. Matt was the guest on our last episode, Metroid Fusion, so go back and check out that one if you have not yet. Next up, we have Edward from Boss Rush Network. Shout out to Ed. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate didn't just bring the biggest and craziest crossover characters to the franchise, but it was a marketing genius of a game. It also is a great party/fighting game to watch and laugh with friends. And yeah, no, it is. We've talked about it, but the fact that they made this many, not only that they made new crossovers, but they brought all the old ones back is wild to make all that happen.
Crazy. And I think to Edward's point, when I go for my yearly, Christmas Eve Smash run, one of my friends now has a 7-year-old daughter, and this is the first year where she actually picked up the controller and she played with us. Obviously, we had to be nice and not kill her every
Jacob,
chance we got.
Me and you don't play with children the same way. Let me tell you, my son never got it easy.
Yeah, but again, not my child, right? So if it's not my child, then I have to be kind of nice. But she was surprisingly good. Look, she was a 7-year-old playing Smash. She wasn't great, but she was better than I expected her to be. So that just speaks to the pick up and play nature of this one.
Yeah, very cool. All right, so now I'm going to move for you audio or video people. We're moving on to our tier list. This is the official placement. Now that we've chatted about it for a while, where are we actually going to end up putting this game on the list itself? I have me on the left, Jacob on the right, and then the titular tier list here in the middle. S, A, B, C, D. Again, if you want to look at those exact ratings, go to Patreon. But you get the idea of what a tier is supposed to be. So now that we've talked about it, Jacob, do you want to go first? You want me to go first? What are we doing here? Where are you putting it?
I will go first, and I will lock it in. Okay. So overall, I think this is a wonderful multiplayer game. It is one that I've had almost approaching a decade of fun playing. It's one that I pick up and have a great time with my friends. The online play is not great. The single player is not great. But the core of it is so good and genre defining that I'm firmly locking in my A tier for Smash Ultimate.
Okay, I moved the crossplay logo over to the A tier on that one. So yeah, again, I'm going to read these really quickly. A, excellence in gaming, widely regarded as fantastic. Represent personal favorites, again, that stand out among the best in his genre or game of the year material. And then B is a great game. This tier could be recommended to fans of the genre or hardcore players. Represent generally well-received games, popular in their time, or represented by a sizable fan base. So this thing, I do think it is one of the best games in its genre, but it's also a very specific genre that has 6 games in it. So that is a thing to think about. I do think World of Light is uninteresting. And I think that the online is, it's just not very good. You can make excuses if you want to or not. So I'm definitely in that B to A. For me, it can't be S tier. Again, S tier is top 25 of all time. And I do like this game. Again, this might be one of my favorite fighting games. I do not think it's a top 25 game of all time. So I have to go A or B. Here's the thing. What do I want to do? You know what, Jacob? I'm letting you in on this right now. I did not tell any of the other guests. Okay. I will not tell any other guest. At the end of the season, again, based on where the viewers vote, and then where we voted during the episodes, we'll average out and put its placement on the list. I have not told people. At the end, I'm gonna have a show at the end of the season to put everything on its own separate podcast.
Yep.
I've not told anyone. I'm telling you first. I am allowed to change my vote at the end of the year, at the end of the season thing, right?
For one game or any game or all games?
Whatever. I feel like, baby, it's my podcast. I can do what I want to do.
That defeats the purpose of the podcast, doesn't it?
No, I'm not saying. I'm just
I think you should caveat that more and be like, I have the power to move
Do one. That actually is a smart idea. We'll do that. We're workshopping it right now. So I have to really think about where I want to
Can we call
place
that the
this.
Jacob rule? Thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's a TM. This is Jacob rule. So with all that said, I think I've actually already determined what game I'm going to move based on where I placed it originally. So I really have to hone in for the rest of the season. I don't have any mulligans.
Yep.
And with all of that said, I think
My
I'm
man's
going to...
putting in B, isn't he?
Oh, it's between B and A. That's really the thing. It is the standout in the genre.
Okay, make the case for A and make the case for B.
My case
Why
for,
would it be in A?
Yeah.
Why would it be in B?
My case for A is that it is my favorite Smash game. Again, I haven't played Melee in a while, but anyways, it's very good. I think it is one of the best in the genre. I think it is the best series in the genre at all, and then this is definitely one of the better games. I do not think it is Game of the Year material, because I remember this getting nominated at Game Awards. Again, it was a December release, so it didn't go into 2019, but I was like, that is the last game on that list. I do not think it is Game of the Year material. And then I look at the B tier, recommended to fans of the genre or hardcore players, well received, popular in their time, or represented by a sizable fan base. That it completely goes
per your definition. That's it.
It completely goes in B, but it does some stuff in A. How about this?
Okay.
Are you looking at Game of the Year 2019?
I am.
Tell me what
Do you want me to name them?
The nominees in Jeff Keighley's Game of the Year Awards 2019 were. And if this game is in the bottom 2, it's going in B. If I think it's a top 4,
That's malarkey.
What? Just tell me.
Because you know what's on this list.
I actually
Here are
don't
the 6
remember.
games,
I
and I already know where this is going.
Okay.
So the winner was Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That was the winner, and then the other 5 nominees: Control from Remedy, Death Stranding from Kojima Productions,
better than that.
The Outer Worlds 1 from Obsidian, Resident Evil 2, and Smash Ultimate. It's the bottom 2.
Well, no, give them to me again.
Sekiro.
Okay, it is. Sekiro is better.
Control.
Control's better.
Death Stranding.
It is better than Death Stranding.
Oh, it's better than... Really?
Oh, buddy. I do not like Death Stranding. I am not a Death Stranding fan, even a little bit.
Okay. If you said that it was clunky back in the day, yes, the director's cut has improved a lot, but I see where you're coming from. The Outer Worlds.
I think it's better than Outer Worlds, and I like the Outer Worlds a lot.
Okay, so then it's top.
It's right on that line, so I got to see this last one.
Resident Evil 2.
You know what? Per my own rules that I made up on the fly, the tier list, the official ranking for me, this game is going in A. Just based off of the Jeff Keighley Awards, I've got to do it because that is not the bottom of that list. I thought it was like, there's no way that was even close. And reading that list and playing some of those games recently, I think that's right in the middle of that list. So it's actually not an awful Game of the Year contender, which arbitrarily is a thing that I say in the A tier. Yeah. Smash Brothers Ultimate is in the A tier.
Are you and I in the same boat where Control's overrated, right?
I like Control. I do not think it is a Game of the Year contender, but I like it. I don't think it's the best Remedy game. I'm in the same boat. It's not the best Remedy game at all.
It is not.
No. It's good though, but it's not the best. But yeah, based on those arbitrary rules, Jacob and Adam agree that Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, let me say it correctly, is in the A tier. But again, that's not the end of it. Remember, all of you listeners out there, can go to patreon.com/thetierlist or look in the description of this episode. There's a straw poll link. You click on the straw poll, you enter your vote, and your vote can affect where this game ends up at the end of the season. So depending on where you put it, it can raise... Well, I can probably only just lower it. I don't actually think you can raise it above an A tier at this point. But still, make your voice heard and make sure that we all know how that feels. Again, thank you again, Jacob. It was a fun time. Again, I was not expecting it. I think we had a blast. We had a good time. You're a cool guy. We hang out. It's fun. Oh, look at this. The thumbs up in the thing. Last chance. Do you want to give your plugs and tell everybody about you before we sign off?
Yeah. Thanks again for having me. You can find me on Blue Sky. That's probably the best place to see my ramblings. I'm at jacob.bsky.social. Somehow I got the Jacob handle. I'm going to keep saying that it's cool till I die. And then, like I said, I host 2 podcasts, Crossplay Conversations and the Left Behind Game Club. If you like older games, book club style, Left Behind Game Club is your thing. If you like newer, more topical indie games, Crossplay Conversations is probably better for you. Adam, thanks for having me.
Thanks once again, and have a good one, y'all.